Hello, golfers. Welcome back to JD Golf TV, your home for playing better, faster. Today's video is on steep versus shallow, and I hope to clear up some confusion about you. So, steep and shallow is something we're going to see from this view. And Mrs. Trackman, she who must be obeyed, is going to tell us steep versus shallow by attack angle. Okay, if I am steep, and this is the thing, I can have a steep attack angle. I can hit way down on it from the inside, and I can hit way down on it from the outside. I can hit shallow from the inside, meaning less down, or from the outside. See what I'm saying? Now, from this view, we're going to see, okay, in the industry right now, steep would be more vertical with the club shaft, okay, and shallow would be flatter with the club shaft. Well, what I call that is flatter or more vertical. Doesn't that make more sense? It's standing up or it's laying down flatter, okay? Now, steep angle of attack. So I wonder if I can create something super steep by hitting down on it more. Okay, so here is steep. Oh my, 8 degrees downward. Now you may actually think that that will hit the golf ball higher by hitting down more. Folks, it was super low. This is really important. That trajectory is telling us, hey, at your speed, Dunigan, maybe you don't want to hit down that much. Don't forget that. And just so you know, as far as steep versus shallow approach into the golf ball, attack angle wise, like it should be called, the LPGA ladies, who, by the way, can beat all of us probably with one hand, they hit down way less than the boys do. Reason is they have figured out, with or without a launch monitor, that if they hit down too much, it doesn't go high enough to hold a green. Get it? This is important because this also means that we don't necessarily have to have tremendous amounts of forward shaft lean. In fact, if I have more forward shaft lean, I will be hitting down on it more, steeper, and that has to fit with how much speed you have, and of course the trajectory you're trying to hit it. I know at our golf courses here, if you come in real low, you better have a whole ton of room to roll before you roll off the back into trouble, because our greens here are firm and fast. Does that make any sense? Okay, let's do this again. Steep versus shallow. We're coming in and we're hitting down on it more. Maybe my weight's more forward. Maybe my ball's back more. All low trajectory kind of stuff. If you have a ton of speed, you can project it up in the air. But if you don't have a ton of speed, it is not going to get airborne. But that can come in handy sometimes, right? Okay, here we are. And we are going to be very steep, I hope, for you folks. Oi. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I hit way down, and this is really interesting. Despite the fact that I swung the golf club 7 degrees out to the right, which usually shallows out the attack angle, I was able to go out to the right and way down. Okay, that's steep. Now shallow, less hitting down on it, almost more like a clean sweep, almost like if you were hitting a 4-wood, because I know that you gave up your 3-wood, right? And you wanted to sweep it off the turf, you might not quite hit down on it so much. And maybe we can thin this out a little bit. And this would be less steep. There'd be more shallow attack angle wise. Hey, only 2 down. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so that takes care of steep versus shallow. By the way, about 2.5 degrees, that was 2.2, is about the LPGA Tour average. And I'm telling you right now, I am a pro. I am not at all feeling bad about saying I need to be closer to LPGA Tour average to hit the kind of shot I want to hit. Do you see how much higher that sucker is? That is way higher with a shallower attack angle. That's why we tell you to hit up on your driver if you can. You'll hit it higher, and higher means usually farther. Let's go to the spin out. Now, let's go from this view, and you'll see the swing cat view over here as well. You will see now what I mean by flat versus steep. Okay, I'm going to switch clubs to the orange club. Okay, steep, flat. And I would say the steepest would be vertical, the flattest would be horizontal. I know. Sometimes I stun you with my smartitude. Well, when you come back, I know the world is on a shallowing the golf club phrase, which means to me, flatten it out. Check out my books from 25 years ago where I talked about flattening, the flattening move. So that was moving from the top of the backswing, flatter. Okay, so we're going to talk about the difference in how to get that done. And I've taken a heavier, much heavier, this is the stick mobility small stick. And boy, I can actually let the club sit on my index finger right back there. It's just sitting there. My right arm is going palm up like we talked about in the right arm video. Okay, whether or not I can externally rotate. There's external rotation. When you throw a baseball, you would go, there's internally rotated to externally rotated. See that? Now, for some of us, that ain't going to work real good, okay? Because some of us cannot lead with the elbow that much. But don't forget, we still have the power of, I give it the Fonz, the Fonzie. Remember Fonzie? You don't remember Fonzie. Hey, okay? Hitchhiking. I know you remember that one. Okay, here we go. We're here. Hey, look, it's already, wait a minute. Are you telling me that to get shallow, the best way to do it is to get shallow right at the start, especially if we're getting shorter and older, right? You can just basically lay it down this way and play. Okay, there, I'm already shallow. Holding up the pizza tray, Bob's Big Boy, right? Palm to the sky. That's this one. Logo to the sky. Point the shaft out that way. This club shaft should be pointing outside the ball anyway after the start down. It should not point at the ball. We used to think that. That is incorrect. And the club won't work like a golf club if we do it that way. So I'm up, and to get it shallow, okay, I could start with it shallow and swing. I could have it up to the top of the backswing, and I could turn my arm. Oh my goodness, it's going shallow. Do you see that? And my elbow is staying out. Oh my goodness, look at that. There we go. And these things, wonderful to do this. Check that out from the top of the overhead view. The club's parallel to the ground, parallel to the target line, just about, right? And I shallow it. And all I'm doing is turning that arm, right? I can have my elbow out like this. I can still do it, but that's going to be real hard. Don't put your elbow out like this, folks. Golf's hard enough. Remember, fold, don't lift. When you fold, if you lift, because you don't have a choice, that's okay. But work on your folding. Okay, now, I can simply point the shaft out. Okay, now wait. I can get the club pointed over this way, and if I'm one of those guys that pulls on the handle, look what the club did. That sucker just shallowed out a whole bunch. You see that? If I point it over my head and pull down on the grip, it shallows out a ton. That works awesome. Fred Couples doesn't suck at golf. Okay, so that's a shallower. Now, I can bring my right arm, I have a piece of tape right here, and try to point that toward the ball. That will help it shallow. Make sense? If I have a very deep backswing, not like some guys on tour, I could actually turn. See, if I turn this way, the club will still shallow up because when I turn, I'm putting a force by turning on the handle that moves this end of the handle that way. Get that? Holy cow, wait. If I apply a force against the shaft this way, it goes the other way. Pretty simple. Hard to learn because you're trying to do it too damn fast. Slow your butt down, please, so we can do something different. And by the way, when I'm trying to do something different, if I miss this ball completely, I will have no interest in that. It won't bother me at all. I want to see that I'm doing something different. Okay, steepeners, right? Got a whole bunch of shallowers now, whole bunch to try. Steepeners, are you sure you want to get steeper? Generally speaking, if you're getting too flat like this, you know what's actually happening? You're probably not turning fast enough. So the number one steepener, and here it is. Watch this. You've seen this before. I'm just going to spin out. Now I'm on the guillotine plane. I heard that the other day. They're going to cut my neck right off. I'm so steep because I'm just holding tight with my right hand. I'm putting pressure this way with my right hand against the club. That steepens at 1. I'm turning out. Oh, that's your buddy's banana ball slice swing, isn't it? You've seen that one before. Pressure against the shaft this way plus turning equals you suck at golf. Does that make sense? You don't probably need steepeners. If you are too shallow, you are probably coming down too long before you get turning, and that makes it seem shallow. I really do want to get rid of this. I want steep versus shallow here, angle of attack. I want flat versus vertical to describe the pitch of the shaft, right? That way we can keep them separate. When you aim right, I want it to be right, not open, closed. When you aim the club face right, I don't want it to be open or closed. I want it to be right. Will make some sense. Got it? All right, get after it, folks.